I want to talk about home prices of single family homes and luxury condos here in the DC metro area and how they're going absolutely crazy in price the last couple years, especially in just the last 12 or so months. Prices are soaring while rents in this area collapse because that reflects the real economy, while investors and speculators in real estate, due to central banks manipulating interest rates lower, home prices and luxury condo prices are soaring. So I want to talk about a example of this, and there's many more examples I've heard over the last couple of years because my best friend is a very successful real estate agent in this area working at one of the top firms, and there's many examples of home prices the further and further away from DC going up 20 or 30% in only a couple years the further away you go from DC. And there's a big construction boom that's been going on here for a while, and it's only been accelerating actually over the last 12 months. There's been a record amount of teardown, building luxury condos, mixed-use buildings, and also single-family homes, luxury ones, and townhouses further and further away from downtown DC. So I want to play this clip that summarizes a true bidding war for a teardown house. This is literally a piece of shit. This is literally a tear-down piece of garbage house. The land is valuable, but the house itself is a mess. I want you to hear the details of how bad of a house this is and how much over the asking price it's sold for.
About this house. It's a modest ranch built in 1948 in the Maryland suburbs of D.C. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, about 1,800 square feet. Needless to say, seen better days. Nothing's been updated. Kitchen and bathroom, still the original from the 40s. The realtor's description says, in part, this is an estate home in need of some serious love, being sold strictly as is. Please do not go out on the deck. It is not safe. So this dilapidated, modest house was listed for what to me already seemed like a hefty sum of $275,000. But improbably, it sparked an absolute feeding frenzy. 88 offers later, 76 of which were all in cash, the house sold for nearly $500,000. It went for $460K. That's 70% higher than the original list price. All to be the proud owner of a suburban property that is currently dangerous and unlivable. The winning bidder was not actually the highest offer, but they were totally in cash and they had all the paperwork ready to go. So this type of home in a suburban area, it should reasonably be a kind of a starter home, maybe for a young couple with the energy to fix it up. But what young couple has $500,000 in cash just laying around? That is insane. Now, this particular home might be a bit of an outlier, but there is no denying the
It's actually not a bit of an outlier. I know a young married couple, or they're engaged, that just bought a similar house in the Bethesda, Rockville area. They grossly overpaid. There was a bidding war. Their parents and grandparents chipped in for the down payment, multiple co-signers of the loan, of the mortgage loan, and the house has roof damage now and needs to be torn down. They found this out afterwards. Whoops. But they grossly overpaid in the meantime. This was just in the last couple weeks. So there's tons and tons. I've heard so many stories from my best friend over the last couple years of insane bidding wars, and it's only accelerating here in the DC metro area. People are moving here or speculating on real estate here for very stupid reasons. Some of those reasons are daughters of very affluent people that are moving here to the DC metro area for government jobs, private sector consulting jobs that are basically in bed with the government and bend over for the government and don't report felonies or accounting fraud or any of the shenanigans that goes on, or they're going to law school. So there's a lot of people here that don't pay rent on their own that have a lot of other people pay rent. Also, there's a lot of sex workers here now, an astoundingly high percentage. So higher home prices, higher luxury condo prices, the construction boom here in the DC, downtown DC area and DC metro area, that the home prices are going up astronomically. There's all cash bidding wars. This is a perfect example of the Cantillon Effect. For those of you not familiar with the Cantillon Effect, economic and political elites closest to the currency and credit trough are the ones who get the most currency and credit at the cheapest interest rates. So all that extra currency and credit, this is why so many DC area lobbyists, this is why so many DC area politicians, this is why so many rich bureaucrats making low to mid six figures per year own multiple pieces of real estate here in the area, whether those are multiple single family homes or luxury condos that their kids either live in rent free and the property value goes up, or the girlfriend or boyfriend or girlfriend and boyfriend or side piece or sugar baby lives in rent free, which is extremely common nowadays here too in the DC metro area. So all this waste, fraud, corruption, and abuse is massively pouring into DC metro area home prices for single family homes and luxury condos. Also, there's a big commercial real estate boom that was happening before the pandemic. It took a brief break and now it's restarting again. This is while rent prices, which the average everyday person has to pay rent to survive, who's not getting support from a sugar daddy or from their rich parents, rent prices are collapsing. More and more people in this area, even ones with pretty good jobs, are having to move back in with their parents. So the distortions from central bank currency and credit with the Cantillon effect and asset price inflation are absolutely enormous and getting worse, especially with real estate here in the DC, because this area, besides the New York Fed and New York City and Silicon Valley, is the closest to the money trough and the Federal Reserve building.